half an hour ago, MMAfighting.com, I believe it was them, put out a report that the Nick Diaz versus GSP fight, it's not confirmed yet, but both sides have, I guess, somewhat agreed to it, and it's going to be taking place as long as Nick signs the contract for March 16th in Montreal. What are your thoughts about this overall? There's a lot to discuss here, but just in a nutshell, what are your feelings after hearing this? I know it's on you.
Pretty pissed, this whole week has been that way. You do everything right, and the champion says, I don't like people that do the sport injustice, you know what I'm saying? And here he is rewarding somebody like that, you know what I'm saying, who talks trash. He doesn't like people who talks trash. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like that. He's a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what he is, because if he's not, we're not in this situation, you know what I'm saying? And to know that the fight's not confirmed, but it might be, man, the only thing I could say is he obviously, I guess he's scared. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way it can be, because there's no reason that somebody should overstep the number one contender over he yelled at me or he said some words to me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, call it how it is. And that gives me a lot of respect. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, that's awesome, but fight me. Just because you're scared of me, you still have to fight me. You can't run forever.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I'm pretty upset as well. And if I'm upset, I can definitely understand how upset you would be, given that you're the guy in this situation. But I mean, just playing devil's advocate for a second here. And by the way, I agree with you, but I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Gotcha.
Can't you say, hey, GSP has basically earned the right at this point to maybe say who he wants to fight next, given that he's the champ and he's been the champ for so long? Doesn't that play a factor somewhat? At some point, don't you earn that right to do that?
No. You know what I mean? I don't care how. Here's the thing. Super Bowl, football, anything, right? If you're the defending champ and you lose some players, do you still stay number one?
No, you don't.
You don't. You know what I mean? You don't. You got to earn your spot to stay number one. And that's the thing. It's almost identical to that. Every weekend, you got to earn your spot to stay number one or to get to number one. You know what I mean? You don't just get to say, oh, well, I would like to pick this team. Okay, I know I can win against this team. I know I can win against this. You know what I mean? And think that you're going to be number one. No, you don't get. You pick your schedule, and if the number one team's in it, you look and say, "Hey, I'm excited because I get a chance to beat those guys." You know what I mean? And here this guy is saying, "No, well, I know you're the number one contender, but I really don't care." You know what I mean? He pretty much threw it back in my face, and that's pretty much all that I can think about. And he just makes it. All I can think about is that night that I actually do get to fight GSP, because all I can think about and all I can see is just hitting him as hard as I can and trying to. Man, it's actually, I'm not even going to say what I want to do because it's not very friendly of me to do that, but I just want to know that I can't wait to get into the octagon with that guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be probably the best decision of my life and the worst for him.
So, at this point, what means more to you? Beating GSP or winning the UFC welterweight belt?
It's always the belt. I'm never going to let personal stuff get in my way. I mean, if GSP loses, deserves him right. You know what I mean? I'll take it from the guy who has it then. You know what I'm saying? That's all that matters. Just because he's doing this to me and he loses that fight, I'm going to be like, what? Well, now I get to try to steal it from the guy who has it. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters to me. You know, personal and all that kind of crap. Dude, you fight for a living. I mean, you get punched in the face for a living. The only way people can get at you is by words. And if you actually let them get to you, then you're weaker than I thought. You know what I'm saying? I've fought guys who talk trash, and you kind of laugh. You know what I mean? Or sometimes I'm like, dude, that is a pretty good. You know what I mean? Just because it makes me, I train with guys that actually know me. They know me 24/7, and that's pretty much all we do is trash talk each other. So to actually know that it works is funny.
What do you think about the way guys are getting title shots now? Because it's not just restricted to you. I mean, this is a situation that seems like it's ongoing with Jon Jones. I mean, Chael loses to Anderson. He comes in and gets the bump over Henderson to do a TV show. Then we now know that Gustafsson is next in line for the winner of that fight. So it looks like the number one contender, in my eyes at least, in Dan Henderson, has just basically been bumped out of the picture. You're in your own situation right now with the whole Nick Diaz GSP thing. What do you think about the way guys are getting their title shots nowadays?
Well, see, there's a little bit of difference on the Chael Sonnen thing. And the reason why is because whenever Jon Jones was going to fight, I forget who he was supposed to fight initially, but they got hurt. Then they went down the line for the top 5 guys and said, hey, will you fight Jon Jones in 3.5 weeks? Will you fight Jon Jones in 3.5 weeks? And Chael Sonnen stepped out of nowhere and said, I will. You see what I'm saying? So there's a little bit of the difference, is that Chael would take that fight on 3.5 weeks' notice, and UFC said this for years, that they like people who want to fight. You know what I mean? And Chael stepped up and said, yeah, I will fight you in 3.5 weeks. And Jon Jones was the one who said, no, I want to fight you with the training camp. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a little bit different. But, again, it is the same exact ordeal. And it sucks. And I feel bad for Dan Henderson as well. You know what I mean? I know I've watched him for years. And, it is what it is. And there's a part of me that's just like, dude, whatever. I'll wait for GSP, because if he has the right to take it from me, then I should have the right to sit back and say, GSP, I'll see you in, they're fighting in March, you said? Supposedly?
That's the not press release, but that's what I read. March 16th in Montreal.
So I'm only 4 months away from that. Dude, I'll wait. That's only 4 months away. I'll wait, and I'll get to train for 4 months for GSP longer than he'll get to train for me. You know what I mean? So that worked out actually perfect. And that's sort of the way that it looks like I might have to take that.
So I guess that answers the next question that I would have. So if the UFC came to you and said, you know what, Johnny, Rory looked really impressive in his last fight against BJ Penn, excuse me, and we want to make another number one contenders bout between y'all two to face the winner of Nick Diaz versus GSP. You would turn that down. You would say, no, I'm just going to wait my turn?
Yeah, I'm just going to wait my turn. I have to talk to my management group, but if that's the case, it's only 4 months away. You know what I mean? 4 months away to wait for a title shot. You know what I mean? So if GSP wins, so he'll come back 3 weeks later from that. So March and April, they'll, I can say, hey, GSP, it's my turn. You know what I mean? Then do 5 months away from that, or, even 6 months, whatever he wants. You know what I mean? That means I'm only going to be out the octagon for not knowing of a fight for, 9 months? Last fight, I waited 6 months to know that I was the number one contender. You see what I'm saying? So add another 3 months just to know that you're going to get a title shot. That's like a no-brainer. That means that I have 4 months to sharpen up everything that I got to know that GSP is going to get the best Johny Hendricks out there.